Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the NXT War Games report for December 6, 2020. And I have to be that guy who understands now that wrestling must be passing him by. Because ultimately, um, I watched this show and I thought it was a good stunt show. I thought it was perfectly passable for what WWE presents these days. But there's absolutely nothing in me that has the feel that I need to watch the next NXT. And to me, that's what a wrestling show should be. And as I do the Mid South series, and I finished most of 1982 today, and that'll go up over the next few days, the one thing I realize is the style of wrestling that's there today for the most part passes me by, and yet AEW with their style catches me every week, and there's at least two or three segments that I care what happens in. Somehow what WWE does no longer truly can catch me at this point. My hope is in a WWE show on any of the three brands, that I can get maybe two segments in a show that I like, and it wasn't that way even 2017. So to me, WWE that I grew up with at least is dying. So the show report itself, the pre-show is pretty well. Talking heads, Wade Barrett, Ariel Helwani, and Sam Roberts of Notes. We start with the Women's War Games match, which doesn't really make sense to me. I would have put the two War Games matches back to back. They're both cages, put them back to back. Match starts slow. The psychology just wasn't there. I mean, it basically was the Chamber of Horrors meets garbage wrestling meets stunt work meets a cage match. Shotzi has the woman advantage, and she's got a new tank. Dakota Kai and Ember Moon were first in the ring. Kai applies a sleeper. Moon gets out of it. Moon hits a head scissors, and then some running offense. Kai gets an advantage with some sort of kick. It was fine. She ground and pounds Moon until Moon hits a second head scissors and hits a running splash, and then Moon goes for another dive. Kai cuts her off. Several kicks there, and then Shotzi Blackheart enters. Blackheart grabs a toolbox and a crowbar. And why there's a toolbox nearby for them to grab when there's, I don't know, a cage, which is an original weapon going back to probably the 20s or 30s as far as wrestling is concerned. But that's not enough for these goofs. They need other weapons. Babyface has maintained an advantage for a while. Blackheart attacks Kai, and Moon recovers. Kai fights both opponents like she's a babyface, even though she's a heel. She eventually gets overwhelmed by the numbers advantage. Kai and Blackheart make their way to the top turnbuckle, and then there's an electric chair by Ember Moon, and Blackheart hits a drop kick. The drop kick was nice looking and all. Raquel Gonzalez is up next. She nails some power moves and hits a power bomb on Blackheart, using the cage as a weapon. Gonzalez and then uses Kai as a weapon. Kai hits an assisted dive, and Rhea Ripley enters the match after that diving clothesline by Kai. Ripley and Gonzalez face off. Kai attacks Ripley. Ripley fights off both opponents and uses power moves, kind of like Raquel did earlier, only with a babyface slant to it. Moon hit a diving lung blower, and Blackheart hit a code red on Gonzalez before Ripley opens the toolbox, remember it, and pulls out a hammer. A hammer. So basically now we can commit attempted murder as part of wrestling shows. Anyway, Ripley beats down Kai, but Gonzalez fights off Blackheart and Moon. Gonzalez and Ripley, they brawl with each other until uh, Tori Storm enters, and Ripley hits a German suplex. Storm brings in a kendo stick. Um, Ripley gets whipped into an exposed turnbuckle. Team Candice beats down their opponents until a couple of Tower of Doom spots, and all 6 wrestlers go down at the same time. Io Shirai's final entrant for Team Shotzi. She pushes a ladder into a ring like she's trying to fit an awkward block in Tetris, and Gonzalez prevents her from entering the match. Shirai makes her way into the ring and then throws more weapons in, hits a drop kick concerto. Gonzalez pops right up and forces her back out of the ring. Storm uses her belt to tie the cage shut. The clock counts down. LeRae is the final entrant. Shirai wants to fight on the outside, but is jumped by Indy Hartwell. That's obviously LeRae's associate. LeRae enters, and Hartwell locks the change, leaving Io Shirai on the outside. So you make your champion look completely incompetent for the majority of the match. Awesome. Team Candice beats down the opponents with several weapons. LeRae wants a pinfall attempt, but Shirai hadn't entered the ring, so the ref wouldn't count it. Shirai gets on top of the structure, places a trash can over her own head. So she's diving in blind. This seems like a good idea in a fight, and dives onto all 7 other competitors. Shirai grabs a hammer, again, seems like a good idea in a worked fight, and attacks all 4 opponents. She landed a DDT and a Tiger Fey kick. All 4 of the Team Shotzi took an opponent. Shirai lands a moonsault on Gonzalez. Team Candice breaks up the pinfall there. Moon looks like she's about to attack Storm with a wrench, so more hardware store tools, until LeRae breaks that up and applies a no escape hold here. Blackheart applies cattle mutilation on Storm. Poor Daniel Bryan, he took so many years to get that move over, and it's being wasted here. Forcing a submission to break. A bunch of weapon shots, and Shotzi lands a missile drop kick through a chair onto Kai. Kai fires up, even though she should be like dead from that move, and goes into the turnbuckle before putting a trash can over Shirai. She lands a diving double stomp. Moon breaks up the pinfall. Moon attacks with a chair before driving Moon's head into the chair. She draped Kai over the chairs and landed the ellipse through them, but Storm breaks up the pin. Storm hits a Storm Zero through the trash can on Moon. Shirai breaks up the cover. Ripley applies her modified deathlock, and Shirai lands a dropkick on Storm. Storm kicks out of that. By this point, everyone should be dog dead tired if this was even remotely like an actual fight. LeRae takes out Shirai with a brainbuster. Ripley gets taken out with a thrust kick, easy for me to say, before facing off with Blackheart. They climb to opposite sides of the ladder. Blackheart kicks LeRae off. Blackheart then lands a diving senton on LeRae through a chair. They're both incapacitated. Storm breaks up yet another pinfall on Kai. Gonzalez sends a backdrop on Ripley almost through the cage before attacking Shirai. Shirai goes for a Frankensteiner, but Gonzalez caught her and slammed her through a propped up ladder, pinning the women's world champion. Now, if this leads to Shirai and Gonzalez winning, that's great. But if they don't follow up on it within a month, it's completely wasted and useless. And for the record, why all 8 of these women had to go through this type of match to begin with, because somehow that makes them hardcore or special or unique, or this is 2020. If my significant other was in WWE, I would tell her to quit before taking this type of match. It's danger for the sake of nothingness. Anyway, Tommaso Ciampa defeats Tim Thatcher. That was a bit of a surprise. Match is a little disjointed. It was almost more like MMA for a while, but turns into a wrestling match. Chain wrestling from the beginning of the match. Thatcher lands palm strikes, goes for an armbar, but both guys kind of break in the ropes. Hammer fists by Ciampa, making Thatcher's leg his main focus. Thatcher gets sent to the outside, hits an uppercut, and the officials seem to be lost as to what to do with this. Thatcher keeps several suplexes going as his form of attack. Ciampa's head's driven into the ring apron. He actually bites out of a face lock here. Thatcher hits a belly-to-belly suplex. His leg is under the rope, so referee wouldn't count. And the official checks on Ciampa after another uppercut. This is the best match of the night in terms of realism. Ciampa fights out with another suplex and hits some chops, and Thatcher gets chopped down. Thatcher goes for the butterfly suplex, but Ciampa backdrops out of it. They go exchanging forearms and crack heads against each other. Ciampa builds momentum with several clotheslines before sending Thatcher on the top turnbuckle and landing a superplex for near fall. Ciampa goes for the fairy tale ending. Thatcher counters with a chop to the throat and applies a sleeper as Ciampa faded. Ciampa sends them both outside the ring, but they barely make it back in. Just about a 9.5 count. A couple of running knee strikes allows Ciampa to get the Bulldog choke, and one of these catch Thatcher on the cartilage of the ear, busting him open. He's bleeding pretty well here. Thatcher reaches the ropes, and Ciampa gets hit with a German suplex. They go to the ring apron. Ciampa fights out of a third or fourth German attempt, and then he catches Thatcher coming back and goes for the Willow's Peak or the Willow's Bell or whatever it is. Then Thatcher dropped to the floor. Back in the ring, Ciampa goes for a backslide. Thatcher escapes to the apron. Ciampa ties Thatcher in the ropes and hits the Widow's Belt for the pin. This was the best match on the show, but it's where you're going to follow up. I mean, Ciampa versus Cross should be where you go when Cross returns, or maybe put the NXT belt back on Ciampa if Finn Balor ain't coming back for a while, but you've got to do something to follow up on this momentum. Dexter Lumis defeats Cameron Grimes in a strap match. Match goes huge, way too long. It's a match, it's a brawl, it's pointless. Grimes brings his own strap. He attacks Lumis before the bell. He obviously attacks before they're tied. Sends him into the barricade and beats on him with the strap. Lumis finally avoids a strike and hits a Thez press. Lumis then puts on a strap and the match officially begins. Lumis uses his power advantage to manipulate Grimes around the ring and then hits a couple clothesline. Grimes rolls to the floor. Lumis tries to whip him and tries to escape the ringside area. Lumis uses the strap to pull him back in. Grimes throws him into the barricade quite a few times. Grimes returns the favor, and then he drops Lumis over the barricade, giving him time to recover. And then using the strap, Grimes lands strikes on the outside. Why a strap match is going to the outside of the ring for the majority of the match, we have no idea. Grimes grabs a bag that has the other strap and puts the bag over Loomis's head. That's the best he's looked all match. And then whiffs him with the unused strap. Loomis hits a spine buster and pulls the bag off his head. Why he didn't pull it off before hitting a spine buster, we will never know. He tries to tie Grimes up with the strap, but Grimes pulled Loomis into the War Games, I guess, support structure that's there to hold the cage in place. Grimes hits a couple soccer kicks, and then Loomis catches the third, yanks him to the floor. Back in the ring, Loomis whips Grimes with the strap. Grimes fights out of a bulldog and hits a German suplex into the turnbuckle. Didn't we learn anything from the buckle bomb? It's like, duh. Anyway, he then grabs a chair and attacks Loomis with it. Grimes sets up a chair and makes fun of Loomis for a bit. Loomis pulls him in for a fallaway slam. They trade strikes. Loomis gains an upper hand. Goes to the top rope. Grimes pulls him down, hits a backflip power slam. Grimes goes for the cave-in through the chair, but Loomis avoids it. Then hits an exchange until Loomis uses a strap. Trips Grimes headfirst into the chair. Loomis applies a head and arm choke, and Grimes submits. Why is there a submission in a strap match? Anyway, announcers speak, and we see a TikTok level promo. Looks like it's Karrion Kross, so they're teasing his return. NXT North American Championship Johnny Gargano becomes the 3-time champions, defeating Leon Ruff and Damian Priest. Match is completely useless, and unless you like goofy comedy, it's why? Anyway, at least they had some good energy. Ruff leaves the match partway through, and then so Priest is sent to the outside. Gargano lays into Ruff with big moves. He uses some springboards to evade getting attacked, and then nails a Rana. Priest holds Ruff to get out of the way, sends him to the outside. Ruff fires back with a drop kick on both opponents. The basic story is Priest won't fight him, but he will fight Priest. Priest finally goes to hit Ruff with a chokeslam. Gargano stops it, and Ruff attacks Priest. Gargano takes out Priest with a dive and told Ruff to do the same. Gargano cuts him off with a slingshot spear, putting himself, as the more lethal of the opponents here. Priest pulls Gargano to the outside, catches Ruff on a dive. Priest hits a razor's edge on Ruff through a plexiglass barricade. Number one, that should be a finish. That should be an injury angle. That should be something. Instead, it's just a spot where he gets up a few minutes later. Officials check on Ruff, and Priest pretends to be concerned about his enhancement talent friend. Ruff is taken to the back, and Gargano takes advantage with a tornado DDT on the floor. Gargano goes for the one final beat on the ramp, which would have been stupid because the match can't end out there. Priest cuts him off and hits a spinning heel kick for near fall. Gargano avoids a second razor's edge, hits a sliced bread instead to get a near fall. Gargano hits some kicks, and Priest fires up and hits Gargano with a lariat for a momentary double down. Ruff comes back in, hits a dive on Gargano. And then he sets up to hit both guys on the floor. Back in the ring, Ruff hits a springboard cutter on Gargano for a 2 count. And then he heads to the top rope again. At least Ruff realizes he has to fly and stick and move in order to be credible. Gargano pops up, yanks Ruff down. Gargano has a bloody facial feature of some sort. Ruff uses a ring rebound kind of maneuver here. Gargano hits a lariat for near fall. And then Priest said that Ruff is out of chances, and he nails him with a boot before hitting a flatliner on both guys. So finally, his instinct to actually, win a match and be a champion takes over rather than this friend he's known for less than a month. Awesome. Anyway, Priest goes to the corner with body splashes before using Ruff almost as a weapon. Gargano escapes a Razor's Edge for the third time, and Priest nails a shoulder and then sends his opponent into Priest like a lawn dart. Gargano ties Priest up in some ring ropes and goes for another lawn dart, but Ruff hits a crucifix bomb for near fall. Ruff again climbs the ropes. Gargano comes out of the way of the frog splash and locks on the Gargano escape. Priest escapes to the ropes and breaks it up and hits a spinning heel kick on Gargano. Ruff avoids a corner splash. Priest basically ignores it. Gargano lands a super kick. And then Priest hits a chokeslam on Gargano. Ghostface killers appear. Priest fights them off. And there's a total of 6 of them. Priest fights them off too. Priest then lands a corner tope on the other 3. So basically we have 6 extras for no reason. Gargano tries to take advantage. Priest catches the dive attempt and slams Gargano. Ruff lands a frog splash on Gargano. And Priest breaks up the cover in time. Ruff takes flight. And then Priest threatens him with a spinning knee. Priest catches Gargano and goes for the Reckoning. Gargano hits a thrust kick. Priest hits a Cyclone. And Priest sets up for the Reckoning again. But a 7th ghost appears, attacks Priest with a lead pipe. So we've got a lot of weapons, most of which are murder weapons. Anyway, Ruff tries to take advantage with a roll-up. Gargano kicks out at 2. Gargano hits the one final beat on Ruff for the pin. Wins the championship for the third time. We have the announcement of New Year's Evil on January 6th, 2021. And one of the main Ghostface unmasks as Austin Theory. So I guess Theory is now aligned with Gargano. Then we go into the second War Games of the night, Undisputed Era, which of course is Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly, and Bobby Fish, defeating Team McAfee, Pat McAfee, Pete Dunne, Oney Lorcan, and Danny Burch. A lot of people, I've read reviews, I watched Twitter while I was watching the show. Lots of people love this, and I'm one of the ones that honestly hated it. I didn't see where this goes anywhere, storyline-wise, that really matters. Anyway, so McAfee has the man advantage. Kyle O'Reilly and Pete Dunne start the match. Neither man can get a real advantage. Dunne lands takedown. O'Reilly tries to go for a submission, turns it into an arm breaker. Dunne fights out and catches a triangle through the ropes. O'Reilly escapes and goes for a Kimura. He goes with a German suplex. Dunne flips out of it and hits a buzzsaw kick and then goes into manipulating the joints. Dunne manages to get a head stomp here and a couple more kicks. O'Reilly pops up and applies a guillotine, but he can't maintain his grip, so Dunne hits a release suplex and goes back to the arm. O'Reilly manages to get that into a heel hook. McAfee acts like he wants to be the next entrant. Lorcan stops him and gets in himself. O'Reilly takes the fight to Lorcan. 2-on-1 advantage is too much. Lorcan lands a half-and-half suplex, and Dunne kicked the arm of O'Reilly. Dunne held O'Reilly's arm wide open for an attack by Lorcan. Dunne and Lorcan are a good tandem. Maybe if there were 6-man titles, that could be something. Burch, Dunne, and Lorcan, that could be cool. Anyway, O'Reilly rolls into the other ring. He hits some dragon screw leg whips, and then he lands a diving knee drop on Lorcan, and gets hit with a drop kick by Dunn, and ultimately, Bobby Fish is next in. He fights both opponents and hits a suplex on Dunn onto his own partner, or onto his own partner. Lorcan gets hit with a spine buster, and he sends Dunn into the gap in between the ring. This is like the fourth time they've done a spot with the gap in between the ring. When it's done once, it's novel. When it's done 4 times, it's predictable. Anyway, hits him with a boot. Fish and O'Reilly managed to go down. Lorcan with a DDT into a German suplex. Dunn tries to stop the attack, but that doesn't happen. Danny Burch grabs a bag of cricket bats. Okay, so we're adding international weapons in now. And he and Dunn beat down their opponents with the bats. Burch makes fun of O'Reilly, and O'Reilly surprises him with a heel hook, and Burch taps. Dunn breaks up the submission with his second or third diving stomp of the match, and Burch nails O'Reilly with the bat. Roderick Strong's in next, but he's laid out by Lorcan, and Burch, Strong, comes back with clotheslines and chops, and then hits a backbreaker and an Olympic slam on Pete Dunne. Strong hits strikes on a bunch of opponents, and sends one of them head first into the cage. Notice there's no blood in these cage matches, by the way. Team McCaffrey regains control. McCaffrey himself is the final entrant. He brings in 4 tables, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4, each of which had the Undisputed Era logo on them. And he brings in chairs. If he brought ladders in, we'd at least have TLC, and that would be foreshadowing of the next network special that no one's going to care about. Anyway, McCaffrey goes for the top rope as he sets up Strong on a table, and then I will give McCaffrey credit. He puts Strong through the table with a decent-looking moonsault. Cole is the final entrant. He grabs a fire extinguisher at ringside and uses it on his opponents, which is a tired spot that 2000 wants back. Anyway, Cole and McCaffrey are the only 2 standing. Dunn pops up between them. Dunn nails Cole with a forearm smash and lays in the stomps. Cole counters into a DDT, and McCaffrey catches Cole from behind, allows Dunn to break Cole's fingers. O'Reilly stops him with a chair shot. Lots of weapon shots tonight. None of them are necessary, or a few of them are necessary. O'Reilly talks trash to McCaffrey, and McCaffrey is about to start a fight. Cole attacks him with a chair. Match breaks down, and everybody brawls with each other. Undisputed Era gets the advantage. Dunn attacks Fish from behind, and then Fish uses a sleeper. Lorcan breaks that up with a blockbuster. O'Reilly lands a knee, but Lorcan breaks that pinfall attempt up. Honestly, Lorcan is looking like the best one in the bunch, and he's been one of the underused ones. Lorcan and Burch hit a magic killer on O'Reilly, but Fish breaks up the pin. Basically, what we have is a bunch of series of pin breakups. Cole has an advantage. McCaffrey cuts him off with a chop block from behind, and he locks on the figure 4. His teammates run interference. Cole turned it around and reversed the pressure on the figure 4, and Dunn hits his half-dozen stomp of the night and reverses it. Lorcan and Burch sets up a table with Cole's name on it, but he's cut off by Strong and Fish. Dunn comes in and runs into a cold super kick and turns that into an armbar. And Cole hits a basically rock bottom type move for a near fall. Cole sets up a table and is about to superplex Dunn through it. Fish and Strong put Burch on a table and tried to powerbomb him through it. Table didn't break. Ouch. Strong dives off with a splash. And McCaffrey tries to take advantage and attack Cole. Cole sends him flying through a table of his own. Dunn, Lorcan, and Birch are all forced between the ropes and the cage, which is just stupid. And so McCaffrey is the only member of the team standing. He tries to run away. Undisputed Era stop him and toss him into the cage. And Dunn, Lorcan, and Birch re-enter, and they regain control. Lorcan nails a driving uppercut on Fish. Cole hits a neckbreaker on Dunn from the top rope, and Strong hits a superplex on McCaffrey. All 8 guys are down. Camera pans up. McCaffrey is on top. He uses a senton in the middle of the crowd, but missed everyone and manages to bounce off the canvas. Great for a guy with very little training. Yes, he trained with Rip Rogers, but he's not ready for this type of match. I don't care what anyone says. He's just a sports reporter and former pro athlete who wants to play pro wrestler. I'm sorry, it takes years to learn to do this right, and you have him in a stunt match. Anyway, hope he's healthy, but he's stupid. Dunn and O'Reilly do an exchange. Dunn snaps O'Reilly's fingers. O'Reilly kicks out in a great near fall. O'Reilly hits a brainbuster on Dunn on the steel between the 2 rings. We like between the 2 rings tonight. O'Reilly sets up Dunn on a chair. McCaffrey cuts him off with a chair shot. He tries to attack Cole with the chair. Cole avoids it and grabs the chair. McCaffrey counters with a low blow, but Cole hits a pump kick. Cole goes for the Panama Sunrise, but Birch tries to interfere. Strong gets him out of the way. Cole tries the Panama Sunrise of his own. Cole is cut off with a super kick and hits the Panama Sunrise for the 2. Cole goes for the last shot. Lorcan gets in his way, and Dunn hits Cole with the bitter end through a chair. O'Reilly, Fish, and Strong get rid of Dunn before hitting the high-low through a chair on Lorcan. O'Reilly then hits Lorcan with a diving knee through the chair to win War Games and end the show. Nothing in any of these matches makes people tune in on Wednesday. Either they don't care that they're in a war with AEW, or they just consider these network preview shows to be, spot, everyone's going to go home happy. Yes, if you like stunt stuff, this is perfectly fine. But if you're looking for actual wrestling, there was one wrestling show on this, or wrestling match on this show that had redeeming quality, and even that didn't really advance the story. Anyway, we'll be back with more right after this.